And you do it very well.
Thank you, thank you.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I am your host, P. Ross. We're on WRLY Raleigh Oak 93.5 FM. I have been talking to the very talented Juan Isler, and I'm now going to switch seats and talk to Mr. Syid Wright, a filmmaker here in North Carolina. Mr. Wright, thank you for coming in to Cat City today.
I was listening to my man here, and I understand what he go through when he would say a man of many hats, but we would definitely work together.
All right.
But I want to throw this out before we get started. I want to give a shout out to my hometown, Pleasant Grove, New Jersey. I want to tell my mom I love her, my wife I love her, and all my family, that I love y'all because they support me 100%.
Awesome. And before I get started with you, I also want to do a shout out to the gentleman that brought us together. That is Mr. Jeff Ware, who currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Connecticut. Thank you, Jeff Ware. He's like a brother to me, and he's a mutual friend to Mr. Syid.
Jeff is my, how can I put this? He's my manager without a contract.
Right.
He's my grammar coach. He's my writing coach because he would call me in a minute and say, "Take that down, send it to me."
Hey, I'm a house applause, Jeff, because he's my coach. Everything like just for you.
Yeah.
He's that for me as well.
Yeah.
He's followed me for the last, I would say, 30 years now, as a friend, as a big brother. And hello, Jeff. I hope you're watching. If you are, call into the show 919-899-9305. All right. So I have again here with me Syid Wright, a local filmmaker here in North Carolina. He's an award-winning writer, producer, director, theater producer, and talk show host. Larry Syid Wright is also an author of the book 3 Shorts and a Play. Where did all of this begin for you, Mr. Wright?
Well, the first thing I ever did was I was my eighth grade in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
We produced our first play, me and a group of other students, and we had one of the and I'm not gonna say at that time, Freddie Washington was a gospel musician, very famous. And his son right now, Freddie Washington Jr., is doing some big things in the gospel community. And he came in and helped us, and we did this play. And then after a long hiatus of doing all the stuff kids do, I went to jail. And instead of becoming, a knucklehead, I would write. I got closer to Islam, but I was always into writing stuff. I always wanted to, I was just writing, and it kind of took off from there. And, but my real lesson came from when I moved to Greensboro in 1995. And I'm this 35-year-old man following this 19-year-old student around A&T University because he was a film student named Reggie Nurse.
Okay.
And he was like, "I'm going to teach you the basics of how to become a filmmaker," because I always wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, you get your camera, you get these lenses. And he said, whatever mistakes you make, you build off that. And that was like my formal training when I got into filming. And I write theater, but I'm not a big theater person. But I write theater, and and most of everything I do, even with my film and stuff I do now, I do more like period pieces and political stuff.
Okay.
I got some hood stuff, out there, but my thing is about creating, like you said, your show and stuff you do. My thing is about creating a conversation with people that will educate them on stuff that I'm not going to say ignorant to, that to educate them on stuff and do stuff to where they understand why we always have conversations about what is owed to us.
Okay. Now, I've seen pictures that you've taken with some of the A-listers or famous people on the silver screen and in the entertainment industry. I've seen you in photographs with Bill Duke, Margaret Avery, who was a part of The Color Purple that we talked about earlier, and Robert Townsend.
Yeah.
What kind of conversations did you have with these people?
Well, I'm a. Well, Bill Doogie was more or less about what he has, what he's been through, what he's went through to be put in the position he's in, and he told me, I never forget. He said, listen, everything look good ain't good. He said, we go through the same thing you go through every day, whether it's on the big screen or just doing local stuff. He said, because you're black. He said, don't never forget that. And Bill Cobb, I talked to Bill Cobb one time. Bill Cobb said, come here, man, let me holler at you. And me and Bill Cobb had a great conversation. He said, listen, if you was in the street, you get paid. He said, but this ain't the kind of community where you hustle like that. He said, you got to hustle. He said, but you got to hustle because you're dealing with different people. You feel what I'm saying? So he said, you got to, it's like being a boxer. You got to know, you got to pick your poison and pick your shots. And I really followed that. But the biggest lesson I ever had was I was at the Black Theater Festival in Miami. I think it was either 80 something, whatever it was the first 2000 something. It was the first year Miami won their NBA championship with LeBron and Wade. And the guy's name is, he was the owner of Code Black. I forgot his name right now. Code Black Entertainment. They do they're the black side of Lionsgate.
Okay.
So I caught him right there too. He said we went to a seminar and he said, we always looking to help people because people helped us. So that's all I had to hear. So I called him coming through the hotel. We was at the Regency. I said, hey, can I holler at you? He was like, yeah, well, I got some stuff. I said, listen, all I'm doing is just picking up on where you left off about hollering at people. So me and this guy talked for an hour. I wrapped him down so bad. And my word is born on the lie. He said, listen, this is what I need you to do. He said, because black people are hard-headed. He said, I'm going to hook you up with my girl at Lionsgate. He said, I want you to put together your synopsis. He said, I'm giving you everything you need to do in detail. He emailed it to me. I had the money. I had the money to get it done professionally, but you know how we do. We go to YouTube. And da-da-da-da-da-da. I sent it to her. She hit me back and said, listen, my man told me he was going to call me. She said, but this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. She said, now, did he or did you not give you the instructions on what to do? I said, yes. You know what I mean? And she said, but my door is always open to you if you get yourself together. And I'll never forget that. And so I learned, stop being cheap. When you're dealing with that type of people.
Yeah.
But far as like the writing and all that kind of stuff, if it wasn't for Reggie Nurse, I probably wouldn't be a filmmaker like I am today. And like I said, like I was telling him, I was the first writer from the Triad area have that stuff read at the Black Theater Festival.
Oh, okay.
People don't even really, but.
All right, well, we'll give you a house applause on that. Now, you have locally produced shows in which you were executive producer on the ABC television network, such as you've done that with ABC, and then you've also done it with My 48 and CW Television Network.
Yeah.
Okay, how did the opportunities come up for you?
Well, I tell you, man, it was a blessing because the guy that's not there now, and this is a funny story. I always try to, work my way in. So I got in touch with, got with the guy, old white guy, cool as heck. So me and him formed a relationship. So he said, what you got? So I got a film doing, I forgot the name of the film, it was a 30-minute piece. He said, let me see it. So I takes it right there, let him see it. And his wife was the general manager of the station. So I'm sitting in his office, and he's called his wife. She said, this guy sent you some material. What you think about it? She said, it's good for black people. That's what she said. She said, but I don't like it. Now I'm sitting here listening to her, but I didn't know that was his wife.
Okay.
So when she came in the office, I cussed her out. But I didn't know that was his wife.
Right.
So when she left, he said, well, that was my wife. I said, oh, I'm sorry. He said, no, she needed that.
Oh, wow.
So what he did was, the time we was at CW, he said, listen, if you got any kind of shows you want to do, give it to me. I'll put them on. So for like a month, I had talk shows. I had little short films I was getting on, stuff like that. But with ABC and My 48, I just sit down with them, say, hey, I'm an independent. I want to buy a slot. They gave me the slot. I got my money together, and boom, that's what happened.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Sounds good. Now, I would imagine, Syed, working as a filmmaker, you would work long and odd hours. How come that isn't like an easy 9 to 5? Why does it turn out to be so long when you're doing these hours like that?
Because it's like filming and editing and theater, and like he would tell you, it's one of them kind of jobs where is you're never satisfied with what you're working on.
Okay.
You know, whether it's a 10-minute play or it's an hour movie, whatever it is. When you editing and you sitting down here and you working with your actors and actresses, you know you want to put out the best product that you can put out because they gave you the best that they could give you. So you have to you have to return that love and reward them with a great film or a great play or great great whatever. You just want to thank them with your work as a director and me as an editor as well, with a finished product that they are happy with and your audience are happy with.
Okay. And how do you put together a cast for your films?
Well, my friend is sitting over here tell you I don't audition.
Okay.
What I do is I go to shows and I see people and I sit there and have a conversation with them and I tell them what I'm looking for. I kind of like pick my cast.
Okay.
I pick my cast and because I don't and I'm just one of those type of person. I just know what I'm looking for. So why should I put people through that journey if I already know what I'm looking for and I just go out and get the people?
Okay.
And I've been blessed by Allah, and I've been blessed that most of everybody that I have worked with in this industry, if I call them right now and they said, "Look, what's up? We ready."
That's good.
But I want to say this, and I need to say this. I ain't gonna say her name, but she's one of the few people that I would apologize to because, in my own way, unprofessionally, I did her wrong.
Okay.
But I just want to tell her that I love you, and I'm asking you just to forgive me for how I did that because I should have came to you first.
All right. I hope she's listening, and I want to give you a house applause for making a public apology. Very nice, Syed. Now, when you're choosing your set locations for your films, what do you do? How do you determine where you're going to shoot?
Well, it's like, it's kind of like once I vision what I want, I just go out and just find my locations. Like Kareem will go with me, other people, like he's my production guy, Chris will go with me, and we just look at and make sure it's right for that mood we're trying to set when we go into production. And one thing I try to do, I don't have millions and millions of dollars, so we try to keep our sets like in a 1 mile radius. So if people do have to come in town, or if we do have to move from here to here, it's not like a big long trip we have to take. We just pack up and go to the next location.
Okay. All right. Now, film is one of those industries that attract creative and passionate people. Communication skills have to be on point because you are working with a diverse group of people and have to be able to tell them what it is that you want. I imagine it's not an easy job sometimes. How do you handle dealing with that?
Well, I'm gonna handle this, but then I'm gonna come to my man for a second because I want to get his take on something. Can I do that?
Sure.
Okay. So this is the thing about film. If people come prepared, they're gonna make your job easier. If they don't come prepared, your life can be a living hell. That's the best way I can put it. And that's why when I go out and when I write a script and then when I go out and seek talent, I seek talent that I know that's experienced and have a love for what they do because that minimize my job I don't want to say minimize, that takes some of the stress off of me of knowing that they're not going to be prepared. And like he can attest with theater, theater is like if you don't have a quick mind on stage, you're not going to be a great theater person. With film, you don't want them cuts all the time, but sometimes you have to. But when theater come, if you don't have a quick mind to pick up where you left off or you forgot something, that's a whole new different ball game. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of stick with film because I kind of say we can cheat a little bit.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's accurate. Yep.
You know.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I'm your host, P. Ross, and we are coming from Oak 93.5 FM
Oak 93.
WRLY Raleigh. All right. Syed, how does your family and friends feel, those back home in New Jersey, and now to see you as a filmmaker? I mean, did they ever imagine your career would go this way? What are some of their responses?
You know, after how can I put this? After seeing how I grew up and after seeing what I went through, because I dealt with a drug addiction, you know, they knew I had that talent. 'Cause like I said, I always wrote, but they are extremely supportive. My wife is overly supportive, but her support came from a journey, because she didn't really understand me as being in this entertainment field. My wife, she's not like one of them kind of people. My wife will attend my events if they like big events, but if it's like small stuff, she won't come. And that's not a knock on her. She just like, you know, because she's seen me edit for 12, 13 hours a day for 7 days a week. You know, my last film, I logged in like over 1,100 hours of editing. You know, but and like my family, man, they support me. You know, they support me. And my best friend Bernard Smith, he definitely support me. And you know, and my man Richard, they support me. But everybody support me. I don't work with some good people. But when it comes down to that, and you need that family support. You need that family support. And like I said, my family are like my biggest fans.
Okay. You've done a little bit in acting as well. Is that correct?
Nah.
You have not? Okay.
I'll do a puffy. I'll show my face and then get up out of there. But nah, I'm more behind the camera, you know, and just keep people motivated and keeping their life full and happy.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Paper to Film. What is that about?
Paper to Film, that's me and Tiffany McKeever, which is my business partner. We created this program back in 2013 called Paper. And what the program does, it teaches young men and women how to become media people, journalists, filmmakers, theater, anything got to do with being creative. You know, that's what we do. What makes our program successful is that we allow these kids to come in and tell their story any way they want. All we do is teach them is how to tell it in a way that where we as parents and administrators can understand their conversation, because we as parents and administrators, we are hard-headed people when we come to our kids. But what we do at Paper to Film, we put them in a position to sit us down and say, this is our story. And in a way that gets across to us.
All right. Well, I want to give you a house applause for working with young people. I always like to see people taking time out for younger folks and helping them to become better citizens. Pitchvine Entertainment LLC is a film production company located in Greensboro, North Carolina, owned and operated by Syid Wright. How did you come to make this be, Syed?
Well, a group of us got together one time, and we was trying to start a film production company, a production company. But over the years, we all just kind of, went our separate way. We still all cool though. So I just kept the name, and I just kept it moving, and I just liked Pitchvine, and so and that's how it came about. A group of us got together, came up with it, but I just kept it going, and we keeping it going, and until I can't do it no more.
Okay, and what is the meaning behind Pitchvine?
I don't know. I just like the name.
Okay, all right.
I mean, like, it's a pitch and a vine. Pitching the baseball. I tell people pitching the baseball and the vine. I just like the way it sounded.
Okay.
So that's what I went with.
Sounds good to me. I like it. All right. So, Syed, you've got a project in which you chose to tackle on America's long-standing battle with reparations. For black people in America, which is compensation for abuse and the enslavement of black Americans. What made you tackle on this project? Or tackle this subject, I should say.
Every time we watch films about black oppression and suppression, we never win. Every time they make a movie about Martin Luther King, he either get killed, but if he don't get killed, there's not a happy ending. Make a film about Malcolm, he get killed. Make a film about Nat Turner, he gets killed. You know what I mean? Mississippi burning. But they have yet to see a film where is we as black people are sitting in a courtroom challenging America about the oppression and suppression they done put us through for all these years. So what me and my partner Glenn Jones, who's a retired attorney, sat down with me. We said we're going to create a story that gives us a chance to question and challenge this America system that is supposed to be righteous. And I tell people this all the time. There, other than the Indians, which they stripped of their nationality, there are only two naturalized citizens in this country, and people can argue all day. It's white people and black people. So if we're naturalized citizens like white people, why aren't we getting the same compensation that they get? Why are we still looked at as second-class citizens? You know, and that's what our whole argument is about in this film. And so we sat, and my friend who helped me write the script, he worked in law for 30-something years. So I said, dude, why ain't you ever, sit down with this when I was saying this earlier? He said, because I work for the government. He said, with me being retired now, I can do what I want.
What you want, right?
So that's why we tackled this issue. But that's our whole argument. And I'm trying to get this across to anybody in any area, whether you black, white, Spanish, whatever, it don't matter to me. Our voice cannot be heard every time we look like the oppressed, suppressed, or depressed black person when we make a film. And if we do make a film that represents us, it has to be somebody white on that the part of that team. But this team here is 3 African American. One of them is a Muslim. One of them is a hard-nosed, straight-up black sister. And the other guy is, he's laid back, cool, but he knows his history. So we have to get out of that stereotype of we sitting in the courtroom looking like we lost. And this film, this conversation was put together to not only change the narrative on how we're being represented, it's educating people on stuff that we don't even know about. A lot of people don't know black people did get their 40 acres and a mule.
Okay, now I will tell you this. When I looked at the film, let me go back. It took me like a couple of days to watch it. That's because I'm just that busy. So I had to kind of start back and rewind and go back and try to find where I left off, that type of thing. Now, don't get mad when I say this, but I saw myself on the opposing team in the character of the black guy that was on the attorney side. But after watching this and going back and looking at the 13th and the 14th Amendments, which this is centered around, I'm like, okay. And I really didn't pay attention to reparations for black folks. And I am black, in case you don't know. I really didn't pay attention to that. I kind of identified with that character until I saw Dr. Claude Anderson. Do you know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I started paying a little bit more attention to him. And for those of you that don't know who he is, he was a long-standing governmental person in Washington. He's written a book called Powernomics. And, he's a great representative of the African-American race, I would say. But I saw myself in the light of that one character, and then I kind of rethought that, because I was like, just like in the film, it was like, would reparations really happen? How can it happen? But then after I thought about it, I said, well, it could. If it was a winning situation,
let me explain. Let me educate you on something.
Okay.
We did that film for one reason and one reason only. And when I wrote that black character on the opposite side, see, this is where we get reparations messed up. The Jews ain't talk about they had the American dream. They got a check. The Japanese when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, them 800 something thousand whatever Japanese they put in the concentration camp to save them or whatever, they got a check. Now you got this black man sitting there talking about he living the American dream, but he ain't getting no check. So that was the bottom line of the whole story, because once people watch the film, out of all the stuff that these people said America did, they never ever once said they gave black people a check. But everybody else was in that conversation doing that film got a check. So when black people tell me, and this film represents all that. So when black people tell me, and them people that say we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstrap, this is what I tell them. If you make me work for you for all these years, and you're still telling me today that things are better for us, you speaking to the wind. Now, it's better for us as far as not dealing with slavery, but we still dealing with slavery in our own way. You know what I mean? We still got the highest jail rate. We still got all these things that the system put in place. And so I don't want nobody to come and tell me that we're going to put money in urban renewal, we're going to put money into all this stuff and supposed to giving y'all a check, because the government give us money for that anyway. And don't sit here and tell me that, well, black people can't handle the money. Listen, if I give you $100,000 and you waste that $100,000, that's your money to waste.
Right.
Especially if you owed it to me.
Right.
Tell me something. How long did it take you to do the project? And did we even mention the name or the title of the film? We have not, have we? American.
See, now you have me going into my black rant.
Oh, okay.
Get the black mind right. So it took us 3 years to get this film project done because of COVID.
Okay.
And my partner, when I first sent in the script, it was actually a monologue of 10 pages. So my partner said, you know, he's an attorney. He deals with human rights and civil rights and all this. He said, listen, let's focus on creating a story and let's rewrite the script. So we had like 30 rewrites, 50 arguments, everything. We were like, dude, I said, look, man, I don't even want to talk to you no more. So it took us 3 years to do this project, get the script wrote, get everything solid. And like I said, I already had the actors picked out, except for 2 actors I had to replace. But the 2 main guys in the film said, look, I got the people that'll fill these roles. And they did it.
It was a great piece. I want to give you a house applause on that. Yeah, it was really good. Like I said, and your cast was great. Everybody was good.
And can I say this right quick?
Sure.
When I'm 64 years old, and I tell people this all the time. I've been poor, I've been on drugs, close to homeless, and I got on my feet. Allah ordained me to do His work, and the work that I'm doing is the work of Allah. It don't mean I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. It don't mean I'm a anything. I just been ordained to do His work, and He ordained me to do His work through film and to educate people and black people. And then I got to say this: I don't believe in people. I don't think black Americans are people of color. We are black Americans, like white Americans are white Americans.
Okay.
And when people ask me why I say that, I said because no matter how you look at it, the people of color in the white community are treated so much differently than the black American community. So we are on this island by ourselves. And that's why we need to stick with each other, support each other, and love each other.
Okay, and tell us real quickly, Syid, who are some of your American heroes?
My American heroes is my mom, my oldest brother, and my 2 sisters.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this because, like I just said, I've been through everything. And my mom, she was a single parent, raising 9 kids by herself, and then I don't say that just to say, hey, she was a single mom. She did what she did. She had babies, but it didn't keep her from being a mom. And my brother, you know what I mean, he had to sacrifice a lot to take care of her 7 and 8 younger brothers and sisters. And my sisters, to this day, are my idols, because even through childbirth and all of those stuff they went through, they never ever stopped being my sisters.
That's awesome, and we're going to give a house applause to your family for being there for you and by your side, and that's great to label them as your great American heroes. That's wonderful. Juan, What projects do you have coming up next?
I am doing. I'm going to be doing a play in November and December. I'll be part of Christmas Motown with Pure Life Theater.
Oh, wow.
I'll be doing that. I'm going to be one of the Four Tops.
Awesome. Awesome.
Levi Stubbs.
Maybe. I'm not sure yet. Then Pearly will be done in the spring, and a play called Cherry Orchard. I'll be one of the stars of that I know of. There is a production in Greensboro that I'm doing, but I can't remember the name of it now.
That's okay.
I will let you know.
Okay.
Free ticket.
I ain't even gonna say nothing. After all that you just said and talked about. First thing you gonna say, Kareem. First thing you gonna say, free ticket. Right. Your cousins. Your cousins.
Some of us here, we still keeping us low.
That is so funny.
But yeah, currently I'm in a production called All the Way, and that's at Justice Theater Project. And so that's what I'm doing.
Okay, and if one wants to follow you on social media, can we do that?
Yes. Juan Isler on Facebook. Juan Isler on Instagram. Juan Isler on Twitter.
Juan Isler.
That's what you're gonna get. You can look for me, and and I'm up there, and anyone that wants to follow can do that.
Sounds good. All right, and Mr. Wright.
Okay, I'm gonna go through this real quick. We're getting ready to start a production called The Press, and that's about this young black journalist. He unknowingly inherits the last black-owned newspaper in the country.
Okay.
And then I got some plays I'm working on. We getting ready. I was just telling Mr. Isner, I'm gonna try to get him to come on board with me. We getting ready to do a production called Prince of Hisville, which is a story I wrote about Marvin Gaye based on the album What's Going On. Then I got it's called The Abolition. It's called Debbie the Abolitionist, and it's about 3 black women educating their husbands who are civil rights workers.
All sound interesting. And if one wanted to contact you, how can we do so, sir?
Pitchvine@yahoo.com. You can go. You see me, Larry Syid, on Facebook. But if you just type in Pitchvine Entertainment, I will be up.
All right. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure having you in the studio with me today. All great information, great stories. I want to welcome you back to the show later on, sometime when you have a free schedule to do so, okay?
I thought you were going to be in my next film.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that after the show. All right?
Oh, all right now.
All right. Thank you for tuning into another show, Chat City with P. Ross. Join us each Thursday here at Oak 93.5 FM at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We are now signing off. Have a great rest of the week.
Community Radio, WRLYLP, Raleigh.